Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're doing something slightly different. We're doing tips about job interviews and I've got someone to help me today.
Hi guys, my name's Charlotte. I'm Sam's brother's girlfriend. I graduated from Bristol last year and I'm working as a production coordinator for an animation studio.
So Charlotte's number one tip is back yourself.
Yeah, so hopefully you've applied for some positions that you are qualified for. I think it's always good to challenge yourself and stretch yourself and apply for positions that you think, would be a bit of a stretch for you, but definitely keep within what you think you're capable of so that when you walk into that room, you genuinely back yourself to do what you want to do.
So what if you're not actually a naturally confident person?
I would just say fake it till you make it. So you've just got to have that conversation with yourself before you walk in the door that for that hour, you are going to be a confident person.
And something that I was told and I kind of used to apply is there's no way of differentiating between a confident person and someone who's putting up a front of confidence. So really no one else is going to know other than you that you're faking said confidence. So yeah, just put up a front if you need to. Hopefully your confidence will build over time. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So an example, I applied for a job when I was in my third and last year at uni for quite a big organisation in a management position, and I had no experience managing people. So I was obviously not, it wasn't my comfort zone going into that, but I knew that deep down I had the capability to, and I just put on a brave face and a smile and I was honest and I just, did my best to be as confident as I could for that hour.
So the author of the book I'm reading now says that there should be like a 4% window of like above your current capabilities or experience where you should be pushing. So the example he gave was if you're trying to get better at tennis, you're not going to play against Serena Williams because she's going to smash you, it's going to demotivate you. And similarly to apply to job interviews, you shouldn't be going for the role of like a senior partner of a massive law firm if you just graduated law school. And then the flip side of that is also, for example, if you're learning to play tennis, you don't want to be playing against a 5-year-old because you're just going to keep smashing them, you're not going to get better. So again, you don't want to kind of underestimate yourself and apply for a role that's way below your capabilities if you know you can do better. So I think there's nothing wrong with kind of pushing the limits, so not going too far, but at least kind of going some way above your current capabilities to kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, agreed. So my second tip is research and prepare. This one's obviously quite important. If they've asked you to prepare something for the interview, like a presentation or usually it's a presentation, then definitely do that to the best of your ability. But aside from that, you also need to research the company a little bit. So if it's a smaller company, just go on their website, have a scroll through, check them out. You don't need to make any notes, just familiarise yourself with the organisation, their values, what services they offer. And if they're a bigger company, you can obviously, check Wikipedia out if you want, just so you've got a basic understanding of the company.
Okay, and then would you use the research and kind of preparation you've done to frame the questions you're going to ask during the interview?
Yes, definitely. But I would say you don't need to have too many questions. Don't write a list of them, but just have 2 or 3. And make sure they're genuine questions that you actually want to know the answers to. Don't just think of a whole load of questions just to sound like you're, curious or inquisitive. Obviously, those are good traits to demonstrate, but it's got to be genuine. So, yes.
And then the third tip is to dress smart but comfortably.
Yeah, so pretty obvious. You want to dress smart because you want to show that you care. But you want to make sure that you still feel comfortable in yourself. Don't wear something that you'd never wear just because you think you should wear it. But at the same time, I would always say it's better to overdress than underdress, as long as you don't feel, you don't second guess yourself when you walk in that room like, oh, I'm so overdressed. Don't think like that. Just, you've done it now. Just own it. So it's always better to overdress than underdress as long as you own it. Okay, tip number 4 is be punctual. It might be common sense, but it is really important to be early. I'd always try and get there about half an hour before the interview's due to start. If you plan to get there half an hour earlier in the traffic, you're not going to be crazy late. You just never know what's going to happen, so it's really important to be early. Similarly, if it's a virtual online interview, I'd always recommend to log on 15 minutes earlier than the interview's meant to start, just to check connection, and there's so many tech problems that could go wrong, so it's just always better to be early.
Yes. So I can actually kind of relate to this, even though I've never done a proper kind of job interview. For my Cambridge interview, it was online, so I did it via Zoom. And just for peace of mind, I made sure everything was ready. my microphone was set up, the camera was set up. I got everyone else in the house to turn off their Wi-Fi, so I was the only one kind of on the internet. Just because I feel like having that peace of mind just puts you in a much more relaxed state going into the interview, as well as just, it's a lot easier and more convenient for you to do that.
Absolutely, but at the same time, you don't want to obsess over it. Once you know that everything's ready, don't hover over it and just think about, everything that could go wrong. Just once you know it's ready, just go off, carry on with your day, get a drink of water, I don't know, do what you need to do to calm down.
And then our 5th tip is don't overprepare.
In that job interview that I did for the management position, it was a virtual one, and I decided to do a lot of research about potential interview questions, which I would recommend. It is a good idea. But what I did is I wrote them all out, or typed them all up, and I sort of bullet pointed what my answers would be to those questions, and I then printed all that out, stuck it to the wall behind the laptop, because I was really worried that I was going to forget like halfway through my answer. Again, it's understandable, but it was a really bad idea, because when I was midway through answering questions, my eyes were sort of hovering to the side, which they could probably tell I was doing. If I then lost my way in the answer and I couldn't find it, I just panicked, and it wasn't like an authentic, real train of thought. So I would really, really recommend doing your research, preparing, maybe noting down a few things that you would say, and then forget it. And then just, don't forget it obviously, but just stop, don't think about it too much, because then when you're in the room, it will be up there, trust yourself, but it will be more natural and real, and that you won't panic when you go off script. Tip number 6 is about money. If you've done any research about interview tips, this is one of the main ones that always comes up, is you don't need to talk about money in an interview. Hopefully in the job description, they gave you an indication of what the salary would be. If they haven't included it in the job description, hopefully it will be discussed at a later date, or you could do your own research to find out what the average wage would be for that job title. You don't want to talk about money in the interview, because it's about you and about the company and about whether you'd fit in and whether you'd enjoy doing that on a day-to-day. There are other things that sort of take priority in that hour that you're there, or half an hour or whatever that you're there. But don't worry, obviously it's an important conversation to have. So if you are successful and you do get a job offer, that's when that conversation can happen, is when you're offered the job.
And then our 7th and final tip is be a nice person.
Yes, if they ask you why you're leaving your previous job, if you have had a previous job, don't be too critical. It might, make them think that you might be a bit difficult to work with if you complain too much about them. You need to come across as a team player and trustworthy. That being said, if you did have a bad experience at your previous company and you do want to be honest about it to make sure it doesn't happen again, you need to just frame it in a very professional manner and not let your emotions take hold of you. So say for example, maybe your manager at your previous job didn't delegate to you as much and give you as much responsibility as you'd have liked, and you felt, like you were bored or they didn't trust you. You can just say, I felt ready for more responsibility than that company was able to give me at that time. So that's not throwing anyone under a bus or complaining. It's just being honest, and it shows that you're driven and ready for responsibility. It's also really important to be positive and open and as bubbly as you can be. It might not be in your personality, but it just really helps to captivate people and just catch their attention a bit if you're a pleasant person. Yeah,
make you stand out from everyone else who's not being pleasant and bubbly and open.
Exactly.
Good. So that kind of wraps up this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos kind of like this with me and someone else, please do leave a comment down below. Any questions or comments, again, leave them down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.
Bye guys.
Goodbye.